Good day to everyone. This will be Group 3's presentation on the timeline of significant events in science and technology that is relevant to the program Criminology. Let's start. 1852. The first use of fingerprinting as a method of identification can be attributed to Sir William Herschel, a British colonial administrator in India. In the late 19th century, Herschel began using fingerprints as a means to authenticate documents and prevent fraud, eventually realizing their potential for personal identification. 1879, the invention of the electric light bulb by Thomas Edison revolutionized crime scene investigations by providing a reliable and controllable source of artificial light. This breakthrough allowed investigators to thoroughly examine crime scenes, collecting evidence and document details that were previously difficult to observe in dim or natural lighting conditions. 1892, Sir Francis Galton is credited with the development of the fingerprint classification system, which introduced a standardized way of categorizing and organizing fingerprints for identification purposes. Galton's system, published in his book Fingerprints, laid the foundation for modern fingerprint classification and greatly contributed to the establishment of fingerprinting as a widely adopted method in forensic science.
In 1901, invention of the wireless telegraph by Guglielmo Marconi, enabling faster communication for law enforcement. John A. Larson was fascinated by the idea of developing a scientific method to detect deception. He believed that certain physiological responses, such as changes in blood pressure, pulse rate, and respiration, could indicate when a person was lying. With this hypothesis in mind, he set out to create a device that could measure and record these bodily reactions. Carl Landsteiner, an Australian biologist and physician, had been studying blood transfusion reactions since the early 1900s. In his research, he observed that when blood from one person was transfused into another person, sometimes the transfusion was successful, but other times it resulted in the dangerous immune response. This led Lansner to investigate the underlying reason for these reactions.
The discovery of the double helix structure of DNA was a big help to forensic genetics because it can be used to identify individuals from sources of DNA include blood, hair, semen, saliva, bone, and tissue. It also allows genetic information to be stored, protected, replicated, and repaired. 911 emergency telephone system in the United States help in improving emergency response for crime incidents. It is an emergency number for any police, fire, or medic. The development of the automated fingerprint system has helped the FBI in searching and identifying crime scene evidence. Abis has the ability to classify, match, and store fingerprints and palm prints and contains prints from both criminal and applicant records.
1974 introduction of DNA profiling by Sir Alec Jeffreys revolutionizing forensic identification. Invent DNA fingerprinting showing how it can be used to resolve issues of identity and kinship and creating the field of forensic and DNA. 1977 introduction of the Automated Voice Stress Analyzer or AVSA for detecting deception during interviews and interrogations. Using this percentage to determine the overall accuracy rates of the two VSA programs, it accurately detects deception about 50%. 1991 introduction of GPS technology for tracking and monitoring individuals, assisting in the supervision of paroleless offenders. It collects the data related to vehicle locations without having to be present at all times, allows the collection of data within a particular radius accurately.
1998 introduction of the automated ballistic information or identification system for firearm analysis. Automated ballistic information system, every firearms leave unique, reproducible marks on expanded or uses. Bullets and cartridge, case and that it fire. The barrel, fire fin, and other chamber extractor, ejector, and other parts of the gun leaves this mark called tool marks. 2004 introduction of facial recognition technology in law enforcement for identification purposes. Facial recognition technology has allowed to compare the faces of criminal suspect against social media, photos, driver's license, and mugshot. But the teach has proven controversial and it is not always accurate. But thanks to facial recognition, task would take countless hours. 2009 development of forensic software tool for digital evidences analysis such as the forensic tool. Much like other forensic tool, XWF can create forensic image from almost every type of digital media. For example, more or other tool can comprise an image file but do so blindly by comparing another of the data of the device.
And that would be the conclusion of our video in showing the timeline of significant events, inventions and discoveries in science and technology that is relevant to the degree program Criminology. Thank you.